Hello, hi.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm good. You good?
See, there's more people here.
Yeah, I don't know where people.
So what's happening?
I'm not really sure.
So maybe they are training today.
Yes?
Maybe they are training today.
Maybe they're probably in the field or something. I'm not sure.
So I wait, or you can doing something then I go.
I think we should just proceed. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
The EPON and GPON training. Yes?
I'm singing. I'm watching that.
Your background is a bit noisy though.
Around here. I know this, but I will struggle.
Yes?
I will struggle. But I'm getting you.
You're getting me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, last time we went through fiber. I don't know if you were there. Did you attend the last time session? Yes?
I did not attend.
Oh, okay. We covered fiber and everything, the equipments. Yeah. So today I was, this is one of the equipments you need in fiber, and I don't know if you've heard of the OLTs.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So I'll be taking you through one of them, software, but they all operate the same.
Yes.
So we have the EPON and GPON training for the software OLT, which we have. We also have VSOL OLT, both EPON and GPON. So whatever happens here, the same thing. It's the same concept applied to the other OLTs. So.
Yes.
So the context, I'll show you a solution of the FTTX, and then the EPON and GPON features, I'll cover them in widely, and then a bit of configuration of EPON and GPON, and then troubleshooting questions that comes up when people are dealing with the OLTs.
Okay.
Yeah, so solution of the FTTX. So we'll cover what's the meaning of the PON, the solution of the access network, the status of the access network, and the basic topology of PON. So what's the meaning of PON, right?
Yes.
So these are point to multi-point transmission mode. This is where you use a splitter, so it's a 1 by 16, 1 by 64, 1. So it's a point to multi-point transmission mode. The one point to point, it has to be probably one cable moving from this place to the next. That's a point to point. But this one we're dealing with the point to multi-point, okay? Where we have upon splitting to 64 ways, maybe that 2 ways, yeah, and 128 ways, right? So PON is characterized by simple topology. There is low cost of equipment because we are eliminating the active devices. Remember, through fiber, you don't have to use electricity. So it's a passive connection. So we eliminate active devices. Only the active devices, we use them on the source and the destination, right? But in between that, its passive devices, that is the fiber, where you don't need electricity to transfer the signal, right? Yeah, so there is low cost of equipment, right? And then now the status of the access network. So why would you use the PON network? Why would you consider FTTX solution, right? So to increase business competitiveness, so provide more services. Remember, you can carry, through that one fiber you're carrying to your clients, you can carry internet, you can carry IPTV, that is internet protocol for television, you can carry even VoIP, right? So you can carry a lot of services using that one fiber, okay? And then now, but bundles multiple services to reduce maintenance cost. Yeah, exactly. Because if it is carrying VoIP, carrying internet, carrying television signal, then maintenance is a bit easy compared when you have various cables. Maybe you are installing access points. That's just for internet only. Yeah, you have to install, maybe come up in another solution to carry your VoIP signal. So with fiber, you can carry a lot of services, so reducing the maintenance cost. And then to improve users' loyalty, increases user satisfaction with the network, and reduces users off network rate. Fiber is a bit stable unless it is being cut. We have a cut somewhere, or along the road or something like that. Fiber, it's stable. It can't be affected by too much weather compared to maybe the access points that we have hanging around there. There are so many factors, maybe the weather and all that, but with fiber, it's only if there is a cut. Okay.
Yes.
So a solution of the access network. So we have the point-to-point, which is here you have the source, and then you run fiber all the way through to the client. That is a point-to-point. But now for the PON solution, we are talking about point to multi-point. Okay, this one at the last here. So the roadside switch network, you have fiber coming from this room up to here, the curb switch, and then now you're carrying this, you are taking the internet to your subscribers via Ethernet cable. That's what a curb switch does. And then now we have the PON network, where you use you have fiber here, and then maybe your clients are somewhere here. You use the passive optical splitter to split to your clients in ways. Maybe you have how many? A 4-port OLT or an 8-port OLT, depending on your client capacity. So I'll be taking you through the EPON and GPON. You'll find out that GPON carries more clients. Each PON carries more clients compared to the EPON. So you have the passive optical splitter split into your clients. So somewhere here you have your OLT. All right.
Yes.
So this is the basic topology of PON. So we have it is carrying maybe IPTV, that is internet protocol television. We have internet being carried the same. We have VoIP. This is for telephony. All right. So we have the OLT here. This is the optical line terminal. And now we have the optical splitter. This is a splitter splitting. So with the OLTs, we have various, we have the 4-port, we have the 8-port, we have the 16-port, right? So each PON, depending whether it's an EPON or a GPON, will carry a maximum number of a splitter, split into a maximum number, all right? So let's say this is a 4-port OLT. So we are having this splitter, okay? So probably these are 64 way. So connected here to this PON port and distributing to your clients, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and you can be able to carry all these services. So that's the advantages of having fiber or deploying the PON network. Okay. So I'll go to features. That is the EPON port attribute, the GPON port attribute also. So we have the EPON. I'll start with the EPON OLT. So the maximum splitting ratio, the maximum that you can split, the splitter, you can have 1 to 64 in each PON. So let's say you are having 4-port OLT. So and each PON can split to a maximum of 64, right? So you can have a base of how many clients in that. If you do 64 times 4, so you can have all those clients, right?
Yes. So these are 64. Let me ask you a question there.
Yes.
When you are saying it's split to a ratio of 1 to 64.
Yes.
So this 64, it means like one port is split into 4. Or
No.
how does it happen?
Okay, what I mean is in an OLT, okay, have you come across an OLT?
Yes,
Yes.
but I've never worked on.
Hello.
I've never worked on the fiber.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
saying
Okay. 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 So what
I've
I
never
mean
worked on
is,
fiber, but
okay, an OLT, I wish I had an image. I don't know if I can. Oh my, okay. Can I have a diagram here of OLT? I want an image. So these are Visual brand. Okay, so these are the ports. These are the PON ports. Let me see if I can drag it down somehow so you can see. So you can see my screen, right?
yes.
The 8-port 10G EPON OLT, you can see that. Yes?
Yes, I'm able to see it. Yeah.
Okay, so what I mean by the port, you have these are 8-port EPON OLT, yeah? So these are the PON ports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay?
Yes.
So here you see this the first port here. You can split a maximum of 64. So you can have 64 clients connected to that one port. You get my point?
Okay.
And then you can, if it's full, you move to the next PON, split the same. If it's full, go to the next.
They give 64.
Yes. So you can have
Yeah.
64 subscribers supported by one PON. You get my point now? Yes?
Yeah. Now I get it.
You get it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the maximum splitting ratio for the EPON, it's 64. For GPON, you'll see there's a difference, so we'll get there. And then now you have a transmission distance of 20 kilometers. So you can have your clients to a maximum distance of 20 km.
Yes.
And then now we have the data. Yes?
Okay. I wanted to write something down a minute.
Yes?
I wanted to write some small notes.
Oh, okay. But I will still share the
Yeah.
document with you.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can write something. So we have the transmission distance up to a maximum of 20 kilometers. So you can carry fiber up to 20. You can split and carry that signal or fiber up to a distance of 20 kilometers. So if you have clients 15 kilometers away, you can still give them that service. And now we have the data rate. For EPON, we have the downstream as 1.25 Gbps, and then we have the upstream as 1 Gbps. So what we mean by downstream is it's the data transmission from the OLT to the ONU. On the client side, remember we have ONUs. So let me put this. You can write this. So the source. Let's say I'm the one distributing the PON network, right? So on my side, I'll have the OLT, the splitter and fiber coming from my way. On the client side, I only need to install ONU. Sawa. It's like a router.
Yes.
Yeah. So the downstream refers to data transmission from an OLT to an ONU. And then we have the upstream, which is 1 Gbps. That is the transmission you get in from the ONU to the OLT. Sawa.
Yes.
And now we have the wavelengths. These are both for single mode. Remember, for long distances, we use single mode. Last time we mentioned that when we were covering fiber. So these are wavelength for single mode and multi-mode. And then now we have this also the diameter of the core for single mode fiber. And now we have the TX power and the RX sensitivity. So the TX power, so the plus 2.5 to plus 7 dBm. This means, or rather, it indicates the device's worst case transmit power. Okay. The worst case scenario you can have for the transmission power is plus 2.5 or 7 dBm, right? So if you get anything than that, then probably there's a problem, or yeah. And then now we have the RX sensitivity. So this one indicates the minimum amount of light required by the receiver to operate correctly, whether it's a media converter, whether it's the ONU that is receiving the signal. So this is the measure. Then negative 27 dBm, the light required by the receiver to operate correctly. So if you get maybe minus 27 dBm, minus 29, you know you are on the right track. Sawa. So yeah, so the PON features. So we have the EPON will support 1:64 splitting ratio for each PON port. Okay. And then now we have all these features here. They are mostly for security purposes. Remember, attacks happen every time, and maybe if you're having clients database and you get attacked, you are violating your clients what is it called, rights to information and all that. So you have to, so the EPON support the AESC 128 encryption for uplink and downlink data transmission. So when the information is being sent and is being received back to you, so there is this encryption that has to happen. So this one uses a 128-bit key length to encrypt and decrypt a block message. And then It uses high length key sizes such as 128, 192, 256 bits for encryption. So the AES algorithm is more robust against hacking. So it makes it harder for an attacker to hack your network. So, and then now we have the DBA algorithm. So this one is the dynamic bandwidth allocation for Ethernet points. So, and then now we have the ONU management. You can do remote configuration, upgrade, and monitor of the ONUs that you have installed to your clients. You can be able to see, monitor, and do configuration remotely. And now we have the ONU authentication, and then MAC address table, and then we have, let me go to support 10K static MAC address. So static MAC address is normally, it's the kind of addresses, MAC address that you configure manually, okay? So a network admin configures this MAC address of authorized users into the MAC address table. So this one will prevent the unauthorized users from intercepting data of authorized users. So this one also is more of security features to make sure that your user is secure. There cannot be, nobody can, maybe the man in the middle or anyone can hack the communication between the two devices, the user and the client and the ONU who is providing the your network. So nobody can come in between that. And now we have the 258 black hole MAC address. The same thing happens here. So it filters the MAC addresses and prevents attacks from unauthorized users. And now we have the DHCP snooping also. It's also a security feature that acts like a firewall between untrusted hosts and trusted DHCP servers. So it validates DHCP messages received from untrusted sources. So it validates DHCP messages received from untrusted sources and filters out invalid messages. Yeah. So these features is all about security to make sure attacks don't happen. Yeah. And now we have management and maintenance. So supports the CLI management. This is the command line interface. So you can use the console port to run commands. If you are familiar with the commands, you can be able to configure the OLT using the commands by running the commands. We use PuTTY mostly to do that, where you connect to a serial port. Yeah. We have the support the EMS management based on SNMP. So what is SNMP? This is a simple network management protocol for collecting and organizing information about managed devices on IP networks and for modifying that information to change devices behavior. So this one is like a database holding information on all your clients or rather the devices that you have. So you can be able to monitor them, you can be able to collect data, you can be able to modify changes, you can be able even to troubleshoot. Maybe this client is complaining about I'm experiencing network failure, you can be able to collect that information and be able to know what to do. So we have the SNMP also have the MIB, that is the Management Information Base or Bank, which describes the system states and configuration. So you can be able to see all your configuration there. So troubleshooting becomes a little bit easier and managing your clients become a little bit easier, right? Yeah. So we have the console port and the management port. So the console port, you use it when you're running commands, right? And then we have the management port where you can manage the OLT via web interface by running the IP and accessing the web interface of the OLT and then doing the configuration from that point, which is the easier because of the graphic user interface of it. So people prefer configuring the OLT via web interface compared to using the console port where you have to run commands. So if you're not familiar with the commands, you probably not be able to use the console port. And now we have the inbound and outbound management, which I would prefer the outbound management, right? Because the outbound management, you're using the management port of the OLT. The inbound, you're using the upstream link of the OLT. So if the upstream link of the OLT is not working, you will not be able to access the OLT and know the configuration and everything and what's wrong. But with the outbound management, where you're using the management port, you're able to determine what's happening to the you're able to troubleshoot easier as compared to the inbound management. So, and then we have the operation status monitor. You're able to see the operations and monitor all the statuses. Configuration of backup, yes, that has to be there. Where you configure, you backup. So in case of anything, you can be able to restore those configurations. And then we have firmware upgrade through FTP. We have the log management, real-time statistic, OLT and ONT optical module diagnostics. Yes. Yeah, so that's all about EPON. So I'm on GPON port attribute. So for GPON, we have a maximum splitting ratio of 1 to 128. So you can see there's a difference now, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. So this one you can split more. So for each port, you can have a maximum of 128 clients in that port. So if you're having a 4-port, you can do the math. So
Yes.
okay. So and the down data rate, you see there's a difference also. You can see. So the downstream for phone is 2.5 Gbps, upstream is 1.25 Gbps. So you see there's a difference, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the downstream is 2.5 Gbps. So the data transmission from an OLT to the ONU, it's 2.5 Gbps, and then data transmission from the ONU to the OLT is 1.25 Gbps. You can see we are dealing with the Gbps, so the speed is higher or compared to the EPON. So
Yes.
So, and like I said, you are dealing with the single mode. These are wavelength for single mode fiber. And then transmission distance maximum is 20 kilometer. And now we have the TX power. You see, there's no much difference, but you can see we are dealing with classes. Here we were dealing with the we're dealing with just the positive end, but here with GPON, they have their standards of naming the, what is it called? The standard of the naming rule. So we have the classes, class B, class C. So even for an SFP, you'll find there's a class B SFP. We have class C SFP. So they are different. And now you can see the dBm. If you compare with the EPON, it's just, if you compare the TX, you can see this one is plus 2.5, the other one is plus 1.5 for GPON, right? 1.5 to 5 dBm. And now we have the RX sensitivity. The other one was negative 27. This one we have class B and class C, which is negative 28 and negative 30. The RX sensitivity, I said, it indicates the minimum amount of light required by the receiver to operate correctly. So you get negative 28, negative 30, you're on the right track. So the PON features, this is the standard that deal with the GPON, GPON network. This is the standard, the ITU-T. The EPON, we deal with the IEE standard. Okay, so we have supports a splitting ratio of 1 to 128. The same thing happens to support the AES. Encryption for uplink and downlink data transmission. And then the DBA algorithm, that is the dynamic bandwidth allocation. It's the same, the security features, they are the same. The difference comes in where we are splitting, yeah. So you can see there's not much difference, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So unless there's the part you didn't understand on the software features, you just ask.
No, okay.
Okay. So the same happens here, the CLI management. If you're managing, you can use the command prompt to the command line interface to run the commands and configure the OLT. The EMS, I've talked about it, based on the SMP and MIB. And then the console port, inbound and outbound management, I've explained it. Yeah, everything is just the same. The difference is the maximum, the splitting ratio, the data rates. Yeah. Yeah, so if you need to carry more data at higher speeds, you'll go for a GPON and not an EPON. Ni sawa. And if you have a very big client base, you can go for a GPON. If one port is carrying around 128 clients, you can see it's a good deal to go for the GPON. But if your client base is just there minimum of, let's say you have 300 clients in total, you can go for an EPON. And if you don't need they don't need higher speeds, you can also go for an EPON. So the protocol, like I said, we have the EPON, the protocol or the standard that starts for the EPON network. We have the IEE standard, and for GPON we have the G984. So the data rate, here comes now the difference. So these are the difference between EPON and GPON. So the data rate for an EPON is downstream, you see. The transmission of data from the OLT to the ONU is 1.25 Gbps, and now the information coming from the ONU to the OLT, that the upstream is 1 Gbps. If you compare with the GPON, you can see we have 2.5 and 1.25. So you can see the speed here. It's a bit, yeah, there's a difference. So depending on your requirement, you can choose between the two. And then we have the maximum splitting ratio of 164 and 128 for the GPON. And now the different optical module, that is the SFPs. They always come with the SFPs. Yeah, these are the SFPs that you plug into the PON ports. So we have, theirs is PX10, PX20, PX20 plus. But the wavelength is the same, 1310, 1490, yeah. And then now here on GPON we have class B or class C plus. So
Yes.
So I'll touch a little on this configuration of an OLT, that is an EPON or GPON. These are basically a flow diagram of how you go about it. So you start, you enable switch VLAN. So if you're not using VLAN, you can ignore that. There's an option if you are not configuring a VLAN in your network, a virtual LAN network. If you're not configuring that, you can ignore that. So it's not a must. So enable switch VLAN if you have a VLAN. You can create the VLAN on the OLT. So also configure the OLT GEPON VLAN. So if you configure this VLAN, you have to give it a GE port, the uplink port. So
Yes.
let me show you something. You see these ports here? This one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, what happened? This one here. These are the GE ports. So this is where you
Yes.
have your internet coming in. So
Yes.
let's say from a router, yeah, you have your internet connected here. We have 4 ports. So you can have G1, GE1, GE2, GE3, GE4. And also you can have the uplink coming via SFP, which is 10G. So, yes, yeah. So you configure those G ports of the VLAN, then configure the PON port VLAN, configure now the ONUs, yeah, connected to that port VLAN, and save the OLT configuration. That's the end. So maybe on a practical session, I don't know if it will happen, I can show you how you do that. So you start with the OLT, you do those configuration. If there's a VLAN, you configure that. Sometimes you can, if there's no VLAN you need to configure, you can ignore that and do it plug and play, and then go to the ONU and configure those network settings. So you have to configure on the OLT now. If you ignore the VLAN, you configure the G port VLAN, the G port, I mean the uplink port, the one that is giving you internet, and also configure now the ONU, save the configuration, and then go to the ONU part, or you can configure the ONU from the OLT. Yes. So that's basically, now we have the GPON configuration. This actually, the EPON and GPON configuration is the same. There's nothing that is different. So unless there is VoIP coming in, we have IPTV coming in, you have to configure various services. So like configure the DBA profile with the GPON OLT, that is the dynamic bandwidth allocation. Maybe you are allocating this PON to carry this amount of bandwidth. So you can consider configuring that. Okay, so maybe a client needs a maximum bandwidth of 1 Gbps. or you know these clients need this amount of, you can allocate that. Sawa. Yes. So these are just configuration guide. These are the running commands. This is when you are running commands. So you create a global VLAN. Yeah. After that, you configure the GE port. Yeah. For the VLAN. If you've created this VLAN 100, you configure the GE port. Maybe let's say it's G port 1 or G port 0. You configure it with the VLAN 100. And then now we have the configuration of DBA profile, where you configure the dynamic bandwidth allocation for that. So you can see we have here assure the 10 to 40. This one is Mbps. So in Gbps, this you have what? 1 point something Gbps, right? To a maximum of 2, right? So you allocate the bandwidth to that VLAN port, and now configure the ONT lineup profile. You go to the service. Okay, is it ATV? Is it CAPTV? Is it IPTV? Is it VoIP? So you configure the profile, the service profile, which service is being carried by this VLAN. So, and then you commit. So you add ONT to line profile and service profile. Yeah, and that's it. And now configure the ONT, that is the ONU. You configure the ONU. You enable VLAN, yeah. If it's service list, they are listed here. If it's internet, if it's VoIP, you will see it here. If it's what else? IPTV, you will find it here. So let's say we are configuring internet, so you choose internet. You can enable NAT, and create, and that's all. So these are just troubleshooting ideas. Maybe you come across some issues that is happening and you don't know how to go about it. These are the common problems that people experience. I'll just go through a little or some. So this is just commands to do troubleshooting. So configure the management IP. You can configure a management IP. You can upgrade your OLT, but they advise mostly if it's working, don't do an upgrade. But if maybe you experience some issues, I have this one client, he didn't have a backup on his setup, backup power, I mean. So what happened is power went off. This time there was an issue with power, sometimes months ago. So power was just going off abrupt, evil, and he didn't have backup. So what happened is he lost everything, like configuration, everything. But he used to save, but couldn't even restore the configuration. So he had to repeat the configuration. But the good thing is, if you have already configured the clients on the OLTs, you still get them, you just have to add them. So that's the good thing about it. But there's an easier way of backing up the configuration and restoring. So he lost everything. So he had to upgrade now the firmware. We had to upgrade for him the firmware of that OLT so it could be in the stable version. So that's one way of troubleshooting. And also now he had to install the backup power to avoid that time. I don't know what was happening with electricity and all that. There was a very big issue everywhere in Nairobi, so that's what happened. So, and after that, after upgrading and the firmware, everything went back to normal. So that's just one way of troubleshooting these things. So you can, if it's working, don't upgrade. If you are experiencing such issues like losing configuration, you shouldn't lose configuration. So if you're losing that, maybe it's not in the stable format. So you have to upgrade to a better version. So on the software, we always have this port alarm LED that's happening. So you just have to check, you can disable that, and yeah, that's all. But with OLT, if you're coming along an issue, you can always communicate to us, and we are there to help. So if you want to venture into maybe supplying internet to your clients via fiber, I would advise going for the OLT, or if you want to venture into a business where you want to distribute internet to your clients, I wouldn't advise for the access points or the point-to-point kind of thing. I wouldn't advise for that, because that one is affected by so many things. Weather, like right now, the way it's raining. Yeah. So you probably, and then power, you have to power that access point uko juu. So something happens and people are disconnected. That's and when you're disconnected.
Okay, like from my side.
Yes.
On my side, on my SSP, I'm selling the internet to PC. So
you're using what?
I have a point-to-point mode.
Point-to-point. How is it working for you?
Yes, that's a lot of challenge.
Yeah.
Challenges are there.
So if maybe one day.
So I feel like I can venture to the skills of this one.
Yes.
That's why I'm so keen for this.
Yeah. This one.
I don't know if I want to see those practicals. The only way I can come to your place so that I can learn more, because much of practicals are important than the new one.
Yeah.
Which are teaching here. I don't know. Is there any way I can come and see the way?
Yeah, sure. You can. We can plan and come to you can come to our office. You can plan a training. Yes. We show you how you deploy that, and even when you buy those products, we can take you through that process, because I can tell you, if you are using the point-to-point now, I know it's hectic.
It's hectic, actually.
But it's okay. So we can plan. If you're in the group, you can side chat me. You can plan for a training. So, and then after that, you can tell me your client base, and then I can advise you on the product that you should take, which OLT fits you best. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So, thank you for being here. I think I've come to the end of my presentation today. I hope you have learned something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've known some things.
Yeah.
Me, I'm an IT guy, so now I see some new things. I feel good to learn them.
Yeah.
Sijui kama unasikia Kiswahili kidogo, naongea Kiswahili.
Mimi nasikia Kiswahili. Nasikia Kiswahili.
Sasa kwa ni mzungu naongea na yeye.
Hapana, ongea na mzungu, mimi ni mwa.
So kama like najua Kisungu ndio bado huku chini haijafika vizuri.
Yeah.
So ndio nilikuwa nasema aje like nataka kufenja kwa hii biashara ya fiber. Like hiyo point to point imekuwa ngori sana kwangu.
Yeah.
Imekuwa like ni unakimbia huku na kule, mala hii imeenda.
Yeah.
So inanikaria expensive actually.
It's expensive to maintain
So,
the nini, yeah.
I think expensive.
Yeah.
So kama naweza kuja nipewe yako